So what gridding does, it basically allows you to arrange information in a more structured manner. And layout grids are usually consist of vertical and horizontal lines, occasionally diagonal lines, angled lines also, but mostly it's horizontal and vertical lines. Generally you need grids to get a certain type of consistency in arrangement of various graphical elements. In logo design, you as well arrange graphical elements, but they're not as diverse as in a layout grids. For example, in layout grids you have text, you have logos, you have illustration, photography. In logo design you just have different shapes. You have lines, you have circles, ellipses. So gridding in logos are a bit more different and a bit more complicated depending on the complexity of a mark itself. There are several types of grids. The most popular one is a dot grid, which usually is, there are 5mm gaps between the dots. Since they're dots, while you do your sketches, the background image doesn't get in your way and doesn't distract you. The second most popular grid is just square grids. You can work with the 45-degree angled lines as well as 90-degree angle lines. My favorite artist, Frank Stella, extensively used this grid in order to create his works. For example, here he's using diagonal lines as well as straight lines in order to create some of his designs. Also, you can see here where he also made sort of a three-dimensional illusion in his flat composition. Besides the square grid, there is also a square grid that involves diagonal lines. For example, in this Otto Archer's work from '72 Olympics, you can see squares as well as diagonal lines, and he plays this game within this field. And you can get very consistent outcomes. And as you can notice, all the lines are either 45 degrees or 90 degrees or 0 degrees. This shows how flexibly can grids be used. As well as you can simplify any complex geometric form into 45-degree or 90-degree or 0-degree angles, and you can get pretty much any image. This proves that you can just get as complex images as, for example, a hockey player or a jumping basketball player you can get when you play within grids. So some people think that grid is restricting and it's not necessary, but in reality, if you want consistency, definitely gridding is one of the easiest and best forms to create one unifying language of communication. The less common grid is 30-degree angle grids, which are sort of played out in a hexagon shape. Frank Stella also was very good in this. Here you get this sort of a three-dimensional feel, and you can play out your marks. If you want to get some three-dimensionality to your marks, this is the good grid to practice your designs. For example, here you get this one plane, then you get this different sort of a three-dimensional plane here that goes into a depth, and it comes up, so it shows more fluidity, less rigid, more playful forms.